Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time zone you happen to be in. We're in for a special treat. I believe everybody knows Stu from, I believe, Scotland. And if I got that wrong, he'll correct me. I kind of like that because my name is Scott. He famously was able to get the emails from the SEC with his FOIA request. And when I saw that, I immediately direct messaged him to see if I could get him on and explain to all of us how he did that. All right. So with no further ado, less of me is always a good thing. So with no further ado, I'd like to bring on Stuart Young.
Hi, good afternoon.
How are you, Stuart? Would you like to say anything to the XRP Army community as a warm hello?
I'm delighted to be part of the XRP or the crypto community and working towards a level playing field. So yeah, I'm glad that we're all united and getting stronger every day.
And you are from Scotland. Did I get that part correct?
I am indeed, yeah, God's country. Yeah, so outside Edinburgh, yeah.
Well, since my name is Scott, I'm very happy to hear that. So we're off to a wonderful new good start. So Stu, the first thing I would like to ask you is, why not just go ahead and dive into the hottest topic in our community right now? And that is somehow, after being in the lawsuit as long as they have and having Empower Oversight jump in, no one had been able to get a hold of the 63 emails and 68 drafts from the SEC. And somehow you were able to pull that off. And so that's really what I think everybody wants to hear about. So how do you feel about sharing that story with us?
Yeah, I'm more than happy to do that. I've been following crypto for many years now. I've been a big fan of the digital asset investor and other people like him. And basically, when John Deaton started his class action, I really got involved with that. So I signed up to it myself. I was aware of Jason Foster with Empower Oversight. And I noticed that what we were doing on the Twitter community in particular was making the information available, but it wasn't getting much traction. So I felt I really had to go to the root of the problem, the official way, and that was by taking out my own personal freedom of information request. So I did that, and I didn't expect to really get any success from there. I had a response which was quite lukewarm and didn't have much content. That was back in January. They originally said they would reply back in January, which they didn't. I went back again looking for what the next steps were and what was the status. And over the course of the past 4 or 5 months, I've actually requested that 7 times. In the last week, I think 10 days, I'd asked the gentleman that I was dealing with at the Freedom of Information Act department to escalate it to his line manager, the most senior person on this. I wanted to know what the current status was. I asked them very kindly and politely what the hold-ups were and how we were to put this forward, bearing in mind this is all publicly funded employees and it's a public diary, and this is for the global good, because I feel that it's stifling US innovation for tech. And to my great surprise, it was elevated to another person that within 3 days came back with the email, no content, no written content other than the cover letter and the enclosure document, which is heavily redacted. But as you can see, it does give you a flavour of the events surrounding the infamous speech and the construction of. So I'm very happy. It's a small step, but a small step in the right direction, I believe.
Well, I think that's quite the understatement because, again, if I remember right, we're on the 5th or 6th time that Ripple has requested from the SEC to turn this information over, and Empower Oversight as well, and nobody got it but you. Stu, one of the things that I really appreciate for the last, I don't know, my entire working life, I've basically been a salesman. And one of the things that you learn in sales is that everybody says no the first time. It's just a psychological defense, automatic response. It's always no. But if you can keep asking and keep asking, everybody has the number of times that they're going to say no before it turns into a yes. So if you can keep being friendly enough and asking them the same question over and over, eventually you'll wear them down. And it sounds like that your persistence, asking 7 times before you got a little movement, was a key to your success. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that. I think keeping emotions out of the equation. You have to be professional. It has to be polite. It has to be based on fact. Absolutely. But one of the other things that I think was a major contribution was in the sixth request for an update. I then made it aware of the different forums and the different followers that I had. The fact that we had ProCoin News, for example. We had the DIA, Moon Lambo, John Deaton, Stephen Hubert, and so on, James Phelan. So Eleanor Terrett and all these people, once I think they realised that it wasn't just this annoying guy from Scotland, there was an entire fabric of people that were all interconnected. This truly is decentralisation, in my own opinion here. And I think the momentum, I think, was just overpowering. So I think they had to act. They had to deliver something because of the sheer volume of people that were at the back of me.
Yeah, I agree. I have been a big fan of digital asset investor ever since I came into the community, and that's a little over 4 years now. And yeah, the pressure that he's been putting out and the content that he's been putting out, and also all of the other YouTuber influencers that we without a doubt have got the absolute best crypto influencers in all of crypto. And another couple of names that you had mentioned, Stefan Huber and Tag and
yeah.
the Ripple Eye. And I don't want to mean to leave anybody out. Utility Theory. We've got the best researchers in all of crypto. And when you combine those together with fantastic influencers, with fantastic researchers, and then we're able to share that with our ever-growing XRP Army community, it's just a nice synergy effect. And I'm glad that you brought them all out. I agree with you 1,000%. Now,
actually missed Rosalind Layton at Reuters and also Late Night Grind. They have to be mentioned also.
Yeah, I like Late Night Grind. I have not been able to make a connection with him yet, but I'm working on it. So when you got the information on a scale of 1 to 10, Stu, what would you say when you finally saw something? What would you say was your excitement level when you saw it?
It was certainly high. It was certainly 9 or 10. As I opened up the mail, I didn't know what to expect, but I knew it was something because obviously it was 2 PDFs I could see. So I read it, and the very first thing I wanted to do was take a deep breath and not just post it on Twitter for everybody. So I reached out to Legal Briefs, to Jeremy Hogan, and a couple of others. And Jeremy came back immediately last night. And he asked for a copy and could he share it along with ProCoin News. So I wanted to make sure it went to the right people with legal experience so that they could look at this objectively with their legal mindset and then take it forward so we get maximum traction, maximum impact. I didn't want it to just be a free-for-all. But to say that my Twitter account and my WhatsApp and my emails have been an overload would be an understatement. It's I'm amazed at just how much traction it's got in the last 12 hours.
Well, we've been waiting over 2 years to be able to see if there's anything in those emails, or I don't know if it's been that long, but ever since the emails were discovered, we've all been waiting because we felt like that was a big deal. Now, one of the things that I noticed as I was talking to some of my friends is that it doesn't. There was some type of a question, and maybe Jeremy had covered this, Stu, that there was some kind of question about if it's attorney-client privilege, were all of these people either Hinman was their lawyer or they were his lawyer? I mean, it looked like a lot of employees at the SEC.
Yeah. Absolutely. To me, a personal opinion is exactly that, said in private between 2 or 3 parties. The second you have representation of SEC in any form, whether it be a backdrop or a lanyard or indeed, emails to your colleagues, that no longer becomes personal. So I think the SEC have painted themselves into a corner here. All different variations of what that speech was. I think it's going to become really difficult as time goes on for them to try and argue out of this. And clearly, they do not want these emails, the content of these emails, ever to become public.
Yeah, well, a lot of it was redacted, wasn't it?
Yeah, I would say probably 95%. There was a lot of headers to and from. You can see the intent, you can see the continuity, a chronological trail. There's a couple of titles that are still there, and as I mentioned earlier, there's 1 or 2 names that are quite surprising that when you either Google or look on LinkedIn, these are senior people in other companies out with the SEC.
And one of the things too, can you imagine being in court if you were Attorney Tiniero and the judge says, well, you said that this was just Mr. Hinman's personal opinion, and then you said, no, it wasn't really just his personal opinion. It was the opinion of the division in the SEC that he works with. And now we've got proof that all of these people were talking about it to help him form his own personal opinion. I mean, if you were sitting in front of George Torres, if it gets to that point, I mean, how would you respond to that? Attorney Tiniero, could you let me know which of these positions that you're actually arguing now?
I don't know. I would hate to be in that position. I mean, he signed a subpoena, a declaration to this effect. So I would not want to be in that situation.
Well, and so I also am very thrilled to know that you and Jeremy Hogan had been conferring back and forth. That was one of the things that I forgot to mention. We've got the greatest attorneys who follow crypto in our community going to bat for us to be able to explain to all of us regular people who don't understand legalese. And so deeply grateful to Mr. Filan and Jeremy Hogan and John Deaton and Fred Rispoli and Bill Belisarius. It's just amazing the help that we've all been able to get. I'm getting a little longer in the tooth now. I'm 60, but I don't really understand the law stuff that much. Just watching Perry Mason and Matlock doesn't really get you a law degree. So it's been such a great help for them to be able to explain everything to us. So just another way of me saying that we've got the greatest community in all of crypto.
Absolutely. And another gentleman we forgot to mention earlier, when you mentioned about being 12 years away from a law degree, Brad Kimes,
Yeah.
we didn't mention him. So
actually, as a matter of fact, the very first interview that we ever did on our channel was Brad and his partner Dustin Planholt, and they were actually at the airport on the way to going to Swell in Singapore. So, yeah, very, very big fan of Brad's and have been for a long time. I can remember when he was doing his videos and it looked like a small little bedroom. And he's come a long way, as has our whole community. And yeah, big fan of Brad's and glad that he's a part of our community.
absolutely.
So what do you feel like is next? Do you feel like now the community is going to chew on these emails and we're going to have everybody looking through them to find everything that they can?
Absolutely. I know that there's a lot of sleuths out there, not easy to say. So we're definitely going to have some people opening up new avenues of investigation, I hope. I think the pending judgment of the reconsideration of DPP with Judge Torres, that's obviously in the very near future. I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful. I see that since this broke last night, XRP's gone up 3 or 4%. I don't know if that's a coincidence or if it's actually just traction as the US begins to waken up. But certainly, I'm in a far happier place today than I was yesterday. So yeah, I've been but poorly recently, and this has certainly been a tonic. This has certainly cheered me up the last couple of days.
Well, and you know, I I'm not sure if I can, but I'm going to anyway. Speak on behalf of the entire community. We are all deeply, deeply, deeply appreciative of your persistence and the way that you handled it. And I'm hoping that other people in the community will be able to see that persistence pays off, because you're going to get no anytime that you ask something. 99% of the time, it's just a defense mechanism that people have because they don't know you and they're protecting themselves. And there's no telling how much money I've made over the last almost 4 decades looking to get to the fifth no, because that's when it will flip most
Yeah.
of the time. And
Yeah.
it took you 7. And so I appreciate you doing that. One of the things that we're doing as well is we feel like that the more of us repeat the same action, that duplication helps. If we had 10,000 people asking the same people that you asked, and I'm not trying to say that we need to be a tremendous pain in the behind completely, but the squeaky wheel does get the oil. I don't know if I said that right.
Yeah. I had several people that I know, I wouldn't maybe say all friends, but certainly contacts who basically said, you're wasting your time. It's complete wasted effort. And then one evening I sat reading a book, and a quote that I read, and I can't remember who it was, but they said, if you don't think a single person can make a difference, you've not tried to sleep in a room with a mosquito. And that just made me think, a bit like Robert the Bruce with the spider in the cave. If at first you don't succeed, keep trying and keep trying. And like any salesman knows, you're only as good as when you actually close that deal. So if you do it in the first time or the 10th time, it's all about closing the deal, like scoring a goal in football. So that's it. Hopefully somebody, even if there's one person out there that changes their attitude and becomes more positive, more proactive, then I'll be extremely happy.
Well, we one of the things that we did on this channel a couple of years ago was start because as a salesman, I understand that stories sell and facts tell. So we started a series of videos called A Moment in Time, and it's just stories of people in our community. And if I had any quitting sense, I would have quit a long time ago. One of the examples of not quitting, Stu, it took me 7 months of asking, 7 months to get Kevin Cage to do his Moment in Time.
Yeah.
But now we're getting ready. After about 2 years, we're getting ready to finally reach the 100th moment in time. And I'm not sure if you've ever heard of a concept or a theory called the 100th monkey effect. Have you ever heard of that?
No, I don't believe I have. No, no.
It's really interesting. You ought to look it up on YouTube. So I'm hoping that this will kick in the 100th monkey effect. But I'm just trying to again reiterate the importance of being persistent and the importance of being polite. You have to be likable to be able to have the permission from another person for you to continue to ask. If you're rude and if you piss them off, then you lose.
Another thing, I'm also in sales, 35 years, oil and gas background. But basically, the purchaser has to also see value. It isn't just a transaction; they have to understand what the value is, not just the cost of what they're selling. So when you have an experience like this with SEC, it's really difficult to try and articulate what that value is. But I think making them aware that this is a much bigger request, a much bigger forum than they maybe first thought. And the SEC, FOIA have to respond back. They have to be seen to be doing the right thing. So it's slowly catch the monkey, but I think we've got there. So.
Yeah, I think we've got their attention. And one of the things that I'm hoping as well is that we can get John Deaton on more, because I feel like he's our greatest spokesperson so far. So one of the focuses that we've had with our group of people working with me is trying to get as many interviews for John as possible.
I've been trying to get Joe Rogan for maybe 4 months now. I've tried lots of different avenues, but I won't give up. And I'm even trying to get Elon Musk. So if you don't aim high, you'll never hit the moon. So go for the utopia, and you can only land on a star if you don't make the moon. So that's my attitude.
And
John, he is without a doubt our best spokesman from a legal perspective, no doubt.
And we put a page up on our website in December to try to help everybody ask Joe Rogan. And in 60 days, we got 17,000 people to fill out a request to his program booker. Yeah. And what we've got going on right now are two. One is to see, I've got a contact page on our website to contact 60 Minutes, because that is a huge show in America. And then the other one is to Perry Ann Boring's Digital Chamber of Commerce, because I think if we could get John together on 60 Minutes and in an interview with Perry Ann Boring, I think it benefits all of us. So that's one of the things that we're trying to work on, inviting everybody to message together. Because I interviewed John and J.W. Verrett, and I asked them if John's lawsuit was more powerful because they had 67,000, because he has 67,000 people in it.
The class action, yeah.
And they both laughed at me. And the reason I asked that was to help illustrate that the power is in the numbers.
Absolutely.
So if we can all connect and cooperate and start messaging together, pick out a target, and then all of us be 7 times persistent and polite, we got a better chance of getting that person's attention.
Absolutely. And I think the focus is, without a doubt, the USA. When you look at the infographic that went out recently, with all the different countries that don't believe XRP is a security, and only the US SEC does. We've got mass adoption everywhere. You see what Ripple's doing, 800% year-on-year growth. It's a phenomenal story. And this is generational change in fintech. It's a great time to be alive. I'm just really, really quite frustrated that we don't have the same support in the US. But I don't know, maybe the mid-year, votes with the Congress, maybe that'll change in the next couple of months, in the fall. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm really hoping so. Obviously, I'm American, and I've been here my whole life. And the thing that I don't want to see happen, and I don't know when that time point is going to be, the tipping point is going to be reached. But if America doesn't get on the ball at some point, we're not going to dominate the blockchain movement like we did the .com movement.
I've got a very simple analogy, and it's years back. You had lots of typists in a typing pool with typewriters, putting letters into envelopes that would then be put into a post box that would then send days to go to the recipient. And somebody comes along with Windows, where you have instant email and you can append all these different things like movie files or art or whatever. That's the difference. That's the lubrication that system needed. Now, if the USA doesn't pull its socks up and join the rest of this movement, the rest of the world's going to have a competitive advantage that the USA is just never going to catch up with. It's as simple as that. And other companies will not sit back just saying, take as much time as you want, SEC and Congress. We'll just wait for you. That bus is long gone. So that's what frustrates me. But I'm hoping that then common sense will prevail.
Well, I am fortunate enough to be in the position that if we get to 10 or 15 or $20 XRP, I'm retired. And the fact that I'm not yet been delayed, justice delayed by Mr. Clayton and Mr. Gensler is not making me very happy. Did you see the other day when Hester Peirce put out a statement about the SEC hiring more people for their enforcement division?
20, yeah. It would be good if they hired one just to start on regulation. It's a bit like a motorway, being stopped with the police for speeding, but you don't know what the speed limit is, and you don't know if you're going the right direction. It's a farce. It's an absolute farce. And the other thing is, Hester isn't actually on, as far as I can see so far, any of the email communications that we've just had from the Freedom of Information Act.
Well, you know, when I read that, I went like this. Remember when Brad Garlinghouse was being interviewed by Pomp, and he went like this?
Yeah.
I did that when I saw that Hester had put that out there, because that took some guts to be able to say to all of the SEC that, hey, this regulation by enforcement is no bueno. What are we doing?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm, again, as an American and as a person who went through before the internet, and all the way through it up to now, America really does not want to lose out on being the leader in the innovation of the blockchain.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We want to take advantage of all of that, and I'm hoping that we're going to be able to get it together too.
Yeah.
Well, Stu, I thank you for coming. Is there anything final in this portion in our interview? Is there anything that you would like to say to our community as a final goodbye?
All I can say is thank you for all the support. I just think that we all know we're on the right side of this fight. I think the successful end is in sight now. I think we're very close to a positive result. So yeah, just keep all doing what we're doing, and all the people we mentioned earlier, absolutely great to have them on the team. All these attorneys and different YouTubers. I think it's absolutely fabulous. I don't want to call it the XRP community, although I'm absolutely XRP through and through. I think we have to not be tribal about this. This is all about innovation for the common good. Let's have a level playing field, and let's see who actually sinks and who swims when we actually come to delivering this tech in the real world, because I know where my money's backing. So simple as that. You know, let's get the handcuffs off. Let's have a fair fight, and then just see how we do.
I couldn't have said it better myself. All right, everybody, take care. I hope you enjoyed getting to know Stu a little bit. We're getting ready to make his moment in time so you can hear his personalized story. And I hope everyone will have a wonderful day, and hodl strong. Be strong and hodl. Yeah, I think that's good. Right. Okay. So take care.
Thanks again. Bye.
Okay, now I'm going to put you on screen only, and you see the things to cover over on the right-hand side in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I'm going to mute myself. And we like 10 minutes or less, because if it's longer than that, people won't watch.
Yeah, okay.
But it's your story. If you want to make it 20 minutes, it's your story. I'm just utilizing the platform to be able to make it.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, whenever you're ready.
Okay. Hi. So my name's Stuart Young. I'm based in Scotland, and for the past 40 years I've been involved mainly in the oil and gas industry, control and instrumentation, moving into sales. About 5 or 10 years ago, I was introduced to cybersecurity and the threat with the control systems, particularly on offshore oil platforms. And that led me from a friend to discover cryptocurrencies. So at the time, the lead was obviously Bitcoin. From then, we got more involved and began to follow different people in the marketplace and understand what the different use cases were with these different cryptocurrencies or digital assets. So that worked in quite well with my job, particularly when I could see 4 or 5 years ago that we were going to have industrial decarbonisation and the advent of renewables. So moving away from the combustion of hydrocarbons to generate energy, we're moving into renewables like wind, wave, tidal, solar, etc. So I could see that there was how's the best way to put this? A commingled grid, whether it be a gas pipe grid or an electrical cable grid, whereby you have clean and dirty energy coexisting on this common grid system. How do you make renewable energy affordable And how then do you manage and audit the generation, the transmission, the distribution, consumption, storage, and carbon footprint of this energy? So that's when blockchain, like a light bulb, went off above me. How could we use digital assets or cryptocurrencies and the blockchain to basically take all this information in real time from the source of different energies, whether it be wind or a power station? How do you keep the demand to the consumer constant when you have fluctuating inputs? And how do you manage the actual costings of these raw materials and the transfer, the sale to the end consumer? So that really excited me. And I got involved that way. And basically, after quite a few years of going into this in a bit more detail, I found that there was maybe 3 or 4 currencies or digital assets that I really had faith in. So XRP, XLM, Algorand, absolutely, in my opinion, world-class leading digital currencies or digital assets. So that's really what got me involved. And then as I saw there was more political influences, I started to get more involved, looking at websites, reading up more tweets, and finding out more about the political and the commercial side of this. And I started following the World Economic Forum, the International Monetary Fund, European Central Bank, and trying to get a bigger picture of how the market in the world is moving. So I can see now that we've gone through quite a few changes since the original days of Saudi Arabia and America getting together with OPEC, the dollar being prolific for so long. And I could see that all these geopolitical variables were moving in different directions now. So where do I see us going in the future? I definitely see a change of the existing global finance system. I definitely see the SWIFT system being replaced by what I believe will be the XRP ledger. I believe that legislation and clarification of regulation will definitely start to reduce the amount of different offerings that are out there to selected, approved assets, which actually have true use cases that provide utility, whether that be on-demand liquidity, cross-border payment, lower transaction costs, etc. So I think it's a very, very exciting time. I think there's still a few hurdles to overcome. And what I personally believe is that the marketplace just has obviously been invested in heavily by the big players. And without naming names, I would term that as being the Betamax or the VHS video community. And suddenly somebody comes along with online streaming, holograms, 3D, different level of technology. And of course, the video people take fright at that. So obviously you try to negate it, or you try to kill it, or you do other things to stifle that growth. Well, you try and bring your videos up to the online streaming standard. I think that there's definitely been a non-level playing field in the past, and I think the trouble up until recently is that we've been appealing to the very people who built that slope to get a level playing field. But now we're all together. Now we've got far more cohesion between us all. I really believe that now we have the ability to provide this level playing field and let each of these different digital assets and these new blockchain technologies compete in a fair environment on their own merits. So I'm extremely happy and extremely excited for the future.